Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Jaime, and for those of you who don't know me, I will be dropping a YouTube video every single day this entire year, and I will also be doing a $25 giveaway for every single video if you tell me what you saw within the video and drop a comment down below. The reason why I'm doing these videos is because I'm in a trajectory right now where I want to scale my company to $1 million a month. I have never been able to do that, never. I've made millions of dollars in the online space, but never ever got into $1 million a month. And so that is like the #1 mission right now. And so in today's video, I'm basically gonna break down what the things that we look at from a marketing front and from a sales front. Now, I'm gonna keep this very broad. I'm not gonna go super specific, because trust me, the data that you're about to see, more so from a simplistic standpoint, but really just to get you to see how to look at the numbers to actually hit your goal, right? Whether you're trying to make 10K a month, 5K a month, 100K a month, like you can literally apply this into anything, right? It doesn't have to be paid ads, which is what I'm gonna show you. Like you can literally apply it into anything. And again, it doesn't have to be online marketing, right? It can be to like, hey, I wanna bench 400 pounds. Like, how do I get there? I don't know, right? It's all strategy. And so I'm really hopeful that this really helps you guys out. So if you have any questions about it, or you want me to get more specific or detailed in what I'm about to show you, just drop the comment here below. What's going on, guys? So today I'm gonna be showing you guys how you can be making $10,000 per month, $100,000 per month, or even $1 million a month. So I'm gonna break down for you guys what we are doing to get to $1 million a month, just so that you can also see how you can apply within your own thing. Now, usually, obviously, if you're starting off on your own, it's a completely different thing. But at least for us, the way we're running things is there's usually a CEO, then there is the CMO, the CRO, the COO, and maybe the CFO, right? You can actually have a lot more positions under this. These are usually the executive functions of a business, right? The CMO is the Chief Marketing Officer. They're in charge of all marketing and making sure that we're getting enough leads. The CRO is the Chief Revenue Officer, and basically they're in charge that the money's actually coming in, right? That they're actually closing the leads. They oversee the entire sales department. Then the COO, which I actually think is probably the most important part, because if we're getting leads and we're closing them, but the business is actually not running, it's all gonna go to shit pretty much, honestly. So the COO makes sure that everything's running smoothly within every single operation, within every single department, making sure that the right systems are in place, the right employees. Like they're honestly kind of like the CEO in my opinion. A CEO is more so somebody who's kind of the big picture, right? The visionary, making sure that these guys are doing their job. But the CEO does a lot of the work. And then there's the CFO, right? The CFO is the Chief Financial Officer, which they basically handle all the money, make sure everybody's getting paid, making sure we're keeping enough cash, making sure we're projecting enough cash to make sure that it actually happens. For the purposes of this video, we're not gonna go so much into, the CEO, the COO stuff or the CFO. We're gonna go more so into these two, right? Because really what we're trying to figure out right now is like, how do we get to $1 million a month? How do we get to $100,000 a month? A lot of that's gonna come from the marketing, obviously, and from the sales position. Now, I'm gonna break down the marketing. Okay, so from a marketing front, right? What is marketing? Marketing, right? There's a CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer, and then what's within the CMO, right? There's variable positions within the CMO. So obviously the CMO makes sure that each of these places are actually doing their job. First, there's the media buyer, right? So one way, actually no, I digress. Before we go there, right? So the CMO makes sure that the marketing is being dialed in everywhere in an ideal world, right? So they handle, there's paid marketing, and then there's organic, right? Which is basically YouTube, TikTok, IG, all that different stuff, right? And then there's also basically affiliates and referrals, right? So they make sure that all the marketing is being done the way it's supposed to. There's also, email marketing, right? So there's many ways of marketing that people are able to make money. Like people make money all the way through, organic, which is social media content creation, email marketing, right? You can buy a database of leads. And if you know how to dial in the messaging within the copy, very important. And then there's also affiliates and referral marketing, right? A lot of people that I know have made tens of millions of dollars through affiliate marketing. I myself in the past made probably over $5 million just through affiliate marketing. It's a little bit more. And they're all very effective. Now, what really makes a company just completely explode is imagine being able to do all of these simultaneously at the same time at a high level, right? That's really what we're trying to get to right now. And so we're launching a new affiliate referral where we can get basically people like you, send us clients, and you can make a nice chunk of money. So if you're interested in that, drop a comment below. But this is not what we're gonna discuss. The other part is obviously organic. Part of the reason why I create content is so that hopefully you guys learn something, and you might be interested in the services that I have, or maybe you'll send me a client. Then email marketing. We do more so a little bit more of this. Right now is the main focus. So I believe that we can get to $1 million a month just through the paid side, right? And obviously email marketing is gonna be a big play because all the leads that are coming in that are either submitting form submissions or booking a call, or they jumped in the call, like we have to keep nurturing them, right? So we send them SMS blast and email blast. So the EM is actually SMS too, SMS. Yeah, it looks like SMS, right? That's all. We're not gonna discuss this either. We're not gonna go into organic. We're not gonna go to affiliates. We're gonna go into the paid marketing, right? So the CMO, in a sense, is kind of in charge of all this, but within each of these departments, in an ideal world, there's a manager, right? Manager 1, manager 2, manager 3, manager 4, and they all report to the CMO. If we're not getting the results we want within each department, they go to him or her and be like, we gotta fix this, right? Vice versa. If we're not getting the results we want, the CEO, right, we'll go to the CMO. Pretty basic, straightforward, right? So if you guys, like, I really invite you guys to look at business as simple as possible. I was just talking to somebody right now about, they were trying to explain something to me, and I did not understand what they were talking about. I was like, I need you to give me another example. And they were like, hey, what's your favorite math? And because I was pretty good at I'm pretty good at numbers and math and all that stuff. And I was like, honestly, my favorite math was multiplication. Like, I loved it when I was in 5th grade. All the other stuff, like, I could do it, but I got bored. And I think it's because I realized the last couple of years that I love simplicity. And it's like, I really think like my subconscious or my soul or God or whatever you guys, I don't know what it is. Something though, let's just say maybe my brain, is telling me like what to focus on. And I've realized that when I keep things simple, it makes a big change in what I'm trying to create. So that's what I'm inviting you guys into, is keep things simple, right? It's very simple. Now, let's go to paid ads. Right? What exactly are we doing within paid ads? So our primary way of paid ads right now is Facebook and Instagram ads, right? We're not doing anything else. So how are we gonna get leads from here, right? If we're doing paid ads and it's coming from IG and Facebook, what's the process from starting this up until the point where you get a lead? Up until the point where you get a lead is when the lead is actually books a call, right? So there's multiple positions within the marketing that require for that for paid ads, right? Remember, we're in the paid ad section. Based on the paid ad section, right, there's the media buyer, there's the creatives, there's the email marketing and SMS, and then there is the tech side, right? And honestly, you can even add in here website and funnel, right? Usually these people gotta be good at not just a little bit setting up websites and funnels, but they gotta understand the copy, right? So usually, ideally, your copywriter is somebody either within the CMO position who understands that. Like, it really gonna depend on how many people you have in your team. If you're gonna, we're talking about 30, 40 people, then obviously you're gonna have a position of a person within each of this, but usually one person can do both. So like our creative person usually does the scripting for all the creatives, and even for some of the email marketing. But usually our CMO is the person that's helping us with the script when it comes to email marketing and also for the funnel. If you don't have, before you run ads and you're actually spending money, you need a funnel, right? You need somebody managing the actual media buying on Facebook. You need somebody to make creatives, right? The creatives is what's gonna bring the leads. That's when you see an ad and you're like, oh, I'm interested in this, I wanna do this, right? You click on it, you then end up on the funnel. Once you're in the funnel, then you end up booking a call, right? And that's just keep it simple. In the tech side, the emails and the SMS are obviously being sent, a lead submits their information. We're not gonna get into that right now. But then on the tech side, this is where all the automations are set up, both on the marketing and the sales side. This position is also super important. Like, you guys will probably realize that they're actually all important. When you're starting off, it's pretty difficult because you're trying to do a lot of these all by yourself. The main thing we wanna look at is like, okay, assuming you got 5 people to do all this, or you got 1, and it's just yourself, that's fine, right? We're gonna focus on the output, right? The output as to how many leads we're getting. So usually the way it works is somebody sees a creative, they submit a type form. So we get a form submission, then we get a booked call, then we get a qualified call. From here, we go to the sales side. We're not gonna get into that. Now, there is multiple different KPIs that we look at within all of this, right? So if we're spending, let's say $1,000 a day, right? In that day, how many form submissions did we get? Let's say we got 10, right? How many calls were actually booked? Let's say 5. And how many of those were qualified? Let's say 2. This basically means that we are spending $100 per form submission, $200 per book call, and $500 per qualified call. Now I'm keeping this super simple just so you guys can again break it down within your own terms. If the goal is to sell something for $10,000, right? And you wanna hit 100K a month, how are you gonna do that? Well, if you're gonna hit 100K a month, you need to sell something at 10K times 10 times. That equals 100K a month. If your cost per qualified call is $500, right? Let's assume after about times 30, right? That would be 30,000 we spent on ads. And look, I know some of you guys probably can't spend $1,000 a day on ads. I'm using these numbers as an example. I invite you into breaking it down for yourself, right? It's super easy. So now if I times this times 30, what is this gonna mean? That means I'm going to ideally still get the same cost, right? But I'm actually going to get 300 form submissions, right? 30 times 10, 30 times 5, 150 book calls, and 60 qualified calls. If I get 60 qualified calls at 300K, with 30K, that means I gotta make at least $30,000 to make my money back. I got 60 qualified people on the calendar. Now, let's assume that the sales team, does their job, or the marketing, everything else is on point. So now this is when we would go to the sales side. When it comes to sales, right, usually our show up rate that we're shooting for is 60 to 80%. 60% like the bare minimum. If we can hit 80, man, we're smashing it. So to keep it simple, I'm gonna say 50%. 50% is reasonable, right? If we get 50% of these people to show up, that means we got 30 calls that showed up. 30 people qualified. You close 20% of these, that's gonna be 6 people, right? That's 6 leads that actually closed. Times 10K, that equals now 60 grand, right? This is a 2x return on ROAS. Now, I'll say this, a 2x ROAS is not really good, right? So if you're only getting, if this is what it's costing you, this is really bad. And I gave you that example on purpose so you can see, even with a bad example, you'll still make a 2x return on your money, right? You're making 60 grand minus 30K on ads, minus, let's say 20% commissions, that's 12K, minus, I would say that's about it, 20, that leaves us at 18 grand, right? So you as a one-man team, if you did this, you can make 18 grand a month, right? But of course, you would have to know how to do all this. Now, if you have multiple team members, then obviously you're gonna want these numbers to be way bigger. And I'll say this too, usually for us, these costs for us is actually cheaper. We're probably getting about, actually no, it's cheaper and more expensive. 510. I think ours is like $50 per form submission. Book call is about 500, and qualified call right now is at 1K. These are not great numbers, okay? They're not, but they're doable. Here's the thing, by just changing these numbers alone, all these are gonna go up, right? So I'm actually gonna have 600 right here, and then I'm going to have, that would be basically, 10, double it. I'm gonna have 10 qualified calls. I'm gonna have 4 right here, right? 4 qualified calls. If I times this by 2, basically is what I'm doing, because that's what our numbers look like more. We're now talking about 60 calls at 20%. That would equal 12 closes times 10K. We just hit 100K a month, right? Spending $1,000 a day, we get 20 form submissions instead of 10. I actually changed this up, right? We get 20 form submissions, $1,000 a day, that's $50. And then we get book calls. What do we have? We reversed the numbers, 60. We get 60 qualified calls times 500. And then book calls was, put 150. This is about $200 for 150. By simply decreasing the form submission, right? And I can go super into detail with this because each little change on the marketing end affects this, then affects this, then affects this. Tweaking the form submissions and getting more book calls and more qualified calls by some few changes, you can easily double this, and now becomes a 4x ROAS. We're shooting for a 5 to 8x ROAS. But our offer does cost a little bit more, like 10K is the bare minimum. Imagine doing this for yourself, right? Obviously, you're not gonna spend $1,000 a day. And if you are able to, then great. Now, what I'm trying to get you guys to see is that, again, most of us can't spend $1,000 a day, right? But you could spend $100 a day, maybe, right? Maybe $50 a day. If you do the simple math, like if you spend $50 a day and it's gonna cost you $500 for a qualified call, that means it will take you 10 days until you get a qualified call. And so you'll still make money, right? It's gonna be way slower, but you can still make money. So you can do it through paid ads, through affiliate marketing, through social media, whatever it is. And this is really what I want you guys to look at, is like, this is something super important that when you're building a company, you have to have some form of structure and KPIs. And so this has been super life-changing for us. Further down the road, like once we're actually, scaling, like I might even show you guys some more of our raw numbers, but it's really that simple, right? You have to be able to manage all positions within the sales department, within the marketing department, and then within each of those departments. So usually when you're starting off, it is a little bit harder because you're doing it all yourself. The other thing too is that you can enroll people, right? People that are good at marketing, or people that are good at creatives, or people that are good at closing, and be like, hey, I'll give you a percentage of the company. Hey, let's all put our money together and I'll give you 10% of the company. Or like, hey, can you work for me for free? I'll pay you a profit of the company. And then eventually you get to a point where you pay them a salary. So there's like so many ways to structure this. And it's really what I want you guys to look at, is that if you get creative, you can really go a long way. And so that's all I got for you guys today. I will catch you on the next one.